All right, buckle up for this one, folks. We're going deep on something truly mind-bending today. We're talking about a woman's near-death experience, and what makes this story even more fascinating is the connection to her dog, a powerful encounter, and some deep revelations about what could lie beyond.
You know what always gets me about these kinds of stories is the way they kind of blend our deepest fears with our hopes. It's like when the mind is faced with the unknown, it tries to grapple with it by using those familiar images and ideas that we all share.
Yeah, exactly. And this woman, let's just call her Sarah, was going through a really tough time. She was a widow in her 60s, dealing with loneliness and grief, and she found comfort in, well, an unexpected place, her dog, Buddy.
That really lines up with so much research on that human-animal bond,
Yeah.
Especially for folks dealing with grief or feeling isolated. Pets can bring a sense of purpose, a routine, that unconditional love, and it can be incredibly healing during those tough times.
Seems like Buddy really filled a crucial void in Sarah's life, right? Oh, they were totally inseparable. But then one night, everything changed. Sarah was running a quick errand, and out of nowhere, she was attacked.
That element of sudden trauma, that's often the trigger for these near-death experiences. Researchers think that the brain, when it's under that extreme stress, it might trigger these altered states of consciousness as a way to protect itself, against that overwhelming fear or pain. It's a fascinating idea.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was terrifying for her. The attackers wanted her purse, and Buddy, who was always so gentle, he instinctively jumped in to protect her. He fought them off, but in the struggle, he was badly hurt. Sarah, watching Buddy fall, she was just distraught, completely panicked. And in all the chaos, she tripped, hit her head, and then nothing. Blackness. And that's where things take a really interesting turn.
This is where we move into the realm of subjective experience. It becomes so difficult to untangle what's actually real and what the mind is creating under that immense pressure. But even though there's no scientific way to prove these experiences, it doesn't make them any less powerful or meaningful for the people who have them.
Absolutely. So Sarah, she describes this feeling of like leaving her body, becoming weightless, completely free, and she sees this incredibly bright light, feels herself pulled towards it, and then a staircase appears. Just seemingly out of thin air, leading upwards, and she starts climbing.
Staircase is such a powerful symbol, right? It's about ascending, a journey to a higher plane. You see this archetype popping up in spiritual traditions all throughout history. The idea of climbing towards enlightenment or getting closer to the divine.
And it doesn't end there. At the top of the stairs, Sarah encounters an angel, this being of pure light and serenity. She's understandably confused, unsure if she's dead or dreaming, but the angel assures her she's not dead and offers to guide her to someone who can explain everything.
The presence of angels, or these benevolent beings, it's another common thread you see. They often act as guides, offering comfort and reassurance to those who are in this liminal space between life and death, kind of navigating that unknown territory.
Right. So Sarah follows the angel, and as they journey on, she starts catching glimpses of what she believes is paradise. First, she sees this incredible playground, filled with children laughing and playing. She's so moved by the sight. But she wonders where their parents are. It's so strange.
It's amazing how these experiences often tap into these deep human desires, the image of a carefree children's paradise. It probably speaks to our longing for that innocence and joy, especially when faced with suffering and loss in our own lives.
Exactly. And the angel explains that this is a special place for children who died too young. It's a realm where they can finally experience all the happiness they might have missed, in their earthly lives.
That concept of separate realms for those who die young, it's found in so many cultures and belief systems. It reflects how much we as humans struggle with the tragedy of untimely death and how we seek comfort in the idea that those souls are safe and at peace.
It's a very comforting thought, yeah. And then as they continue ascending, the scene shifts. They come to this peaceful park filled with elderly people. They're reading, chatting, playing games. It just radiates tranquility and this sense of community.
That image of a serene park for the elderly, it might reflect our longing for that time of rest and connection. After a long life, a place where the burdens of age and illness are finally lifted.
And as they travel on, Sarah notices something remarkable about this paradise. It's incredibly diverse. People of all ages, backgrounds, cultures, all coexisting in harmony. It's all about peace and acceptance.
This emphasis on diversity and inclusivity, it's really interesting. It could reflect a growing awareness of our interconnectedness as humans, a desire to move beyond those earthly divisions that we create, race, religion, nationality, all of it.
And then comes the biggest surprise of all.
Yeah.
Sarah comes face to face with, Jesus.
The appearance of Jesus or a similar religious figure, it's a frequent element. Especially within a Christian context, it represents that ultimate authority, comfort, and guidance, the source of it all.
And Jesus reveals something really amazing to Sarah. He explains that Buddy, her beloved dog, was sent to her for a divine purpose. Buddy was a spiritual guide, a guardian angel in furry form, meant to help Sarah rediscover love and strength after losing her husband.
The concept of animals as spiritual guides, messengers, it's an ancient idea found across so many cultures and beliefs. It speaks to that profound bond we have with animals and suggests that our animal companions might play a much deeper role in our lives than we realize. It's a beautiful idea, isn't it, that these creatures we cherish so deeply could also be our sources of wisdom and guidance.
It really is.
This idea of divine purpose, it pops up again and again in these near-death stories. It's like it gives us a way to try to make sense of these random things that happen in life, find meaning in suffering. It's seeing that bigger picture, that plan we don't always get right away.
Yeah, it's really comforting, especially given what happened. And Jesus doesn't stop there. He goes on to talk about how important it is to live a life full of compassion and kindness. He tells Sarah, true fulfillment, it comes from connecting with others genuinely and acting with love.
This message of love and forgiveness, it really does echo the teachings of so many spiritual traditions. It suggests that the things we do in this life, they have an impact beyond our earthly existence. Like our choices, they matter on a much deeper level.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder, right? To live with intention, make choices that reflect what we truly believe in. But Sarah, she's still worried about Buddy. She asks about him, and Jesus reassures her. He explains that Buddy's mission is complete, and that even though his time on earth is over, their bond goes beyond those physical limits.
This idea that love and connection can transcend physical death, it's a huge source of comfort for so many, especially those who have lost loved ones, right? It suggests that the bonds we form here, the love we share, it might continue in ways we don't yet understand.
It's beautiful, isn't it? That the love for our animal companions, it's not bound by time or space. Then Sarah feels this gentle tug, like she's being drawn back. She slowly loses consciousness and finds herself back in the world of the living.
This return to consciousness, it's often described as this gradual thing, that otherworldly experience fades away as the person kind of reintegrates with their physical body. It's almost like waking from a really vivid dream, That memory stays with you, but the details start to get fuzzy.
Yeah, sadly, Sarah wakes up in the hospital and learns that Betty didn't survive. The grief is just crushing, but she finds some solace in the message she received. She realizes that Buddy's sacrifice, it was actually a catalyst for this whole spiritual awakening.
This is where the power of grief, that transformative power, really comes in. Loss, even though it's incredibly painful, it can really push us to grow as people, and understand how fragile and meaningful life is. It can make us reevaluate what's important, cherish the present moment, and deepen our connections with others.
Absolutely. So as Sarah heals, she makes a decision to honor Buddy's memory. She adopts another dog from a local shelter. This new companion, a sweet puppy named Jean-Pierre, he becomes this symbol of her resilience and her ability to love again.
Adopting another animal, especially after such a traumatic loss, wow, that's so powerful. It speaks volumes about Sarah's resilience and her commitment to honoring that love she had for Buddy. It's like choosing to open your heart again, even when it's been broken.
It's such a beautiful example of how love can transform even the deepest sorrow, right? Turn it into strength and hope. Sarah's experience reminds us that even when we face impossible challenges, there's always that chance for growth, for healing, and for a deeper connection to something bigger than ourselves.
And it makes us all wonder, right? What roles do our animal companions play in our lives, really? Are they just pets? Or could they be something more, guides, teachers, maybe even messengers from somewhere else?
It really makes you think. What if we're just barely scratching the surface when it comes to understanding these bonds? What if we're taking them for granted?
It's a question worth pondering. Our animal companions, they give us unconditional love, companionship, and often that connection to something bigger than ourselves, Maybe their presence in our lives is way more meaningful than we realize.
So let's kind of recap what we've learned from Sarah's incredible story. That human-animal bond, it can have a huge impact on our emotional well-being.
Right.
It can offer us comfort and support even in the face of immense grief and isolation.
We've also seen how even adversity, even trauma, it can ignite spiritual growth, leading us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. Sometimes it's those darkest times that bring us the most strength and clarity.
Sarah's story also shows us the enduring power of love. right? It suggests those connections we make, they might actually transcend those physical limitations and continue on in ways we don't fully understand.
Her experience invites us to think about the possibility of a reality beyond what we see every day. A realm where love and consciousness keep going even after physical death. It's an idea that so many cultures have explored throughout history, offering comfort and hope when faced with loss and uncertainty.
Yeah, it really does make you think about those we've lost too. And, Sarah's story is really about the strength of the human spirit, the power of love to change us, and that enduring mystery surrounding what happens after we die.
Absolutely. And it makes us look at our own relationships with our animal companions in a whole new light, right?
Yeah.
Really appreciate the gifts they bring to our lives, the lessons they teach us, and to consider, maybe they're more than just pets.
Yeah, what if they are guides, teachers, even angels in disguise? What if they're here to help us through our time on Earth?
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you ever had that kind of connection with an animal that made you question things, like the nature of reality or just how far love can reach?
We'd love to hear from you. Share your stories, those experiences, your thoughts about this deep connection that we have with your animal companions, because maybe, just maybe, there's a lot more to these incredible creatures than we realize,
Maybe they have a wisdom we're only starting to understand. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Sarah's incredible story. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and cherish those amazing bonds that make life so rich and meaningful.